Ah, take a deep breath in, my hey, I got something to say. Women around the world and men that support us. Woo! What a week. What a week. But no matter what, I'm here with you. I love you. I appreciate you. And I'm very excited to introduce you to my next guest. But before I do, I have a big announcement. This is a Hoochie Mama big announcement. In that, I am doing a conference with the one and only Arena Ferguson out in California. The conference is called Listen to Her. It's going to be on March 1st and March 2nd. And it's going to be at I got to make sure I got it right because we just located the place, the Blackbird House in Culver City, California. What? Only 15 minutes from LA. We were thinking, where are we going to put it? But finally, this is a great place. It's gorgeous. And we wanted everybody to have easy access. So it's March 1st, March 2nd. I will include all the information, but here's the best thing. I was on the phone to my partner. I said, I know it's been tense and women want to come together and unite from no matter what backgrounds to really celebrate who we are and how we want to lift each other up. I want an extra push to get people to sign up. So for a limited time only, if you use SJW, you're going to get 30% off. What do you think of that? SJW. Yes, my initials. So in the link, put in SJW and you will get 30% off. We're only going to give away a few because that's a huge percentage, but I want to get you guys there. Now, Jennifer Bleecher is in the house. She's been sitting there patiently smiling at me. Jennifer, how are you?
I'm well. I'm very well. Thank you so much for having me on today.
Well, I only waited 3 years,
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
It was worth the wait.
The
So,
timing is always perfect, so I'll go with it.
yeah, timing is always perfect. I always believe that.
Yeah,
So I tell myself I have perfect timing. I meet the right people at the right time.
exactly.
Jennifer, I'll give you a little bit about her background, but I don't like shopping, but I love shopping for others' birthdays and Christmases. And I love craft shows because I love supporting people and all the different talents they have. And so we were just discussing this. I think it was 3 years ago in like a few weeks at a craft show, like in the Exton area, that we met with your
Yeah,
book, with your
yeah. I remember it vividly, actually. I thought you were like cool. You were dressed in like a cool outfit, and
I was.
we kept yeah. I feel like we kept like making eye contact, and I couldn't tell if you were like another vendor or you were just browsing around. But and then you came up to my table and we started chatting, and it was just crazy like that. And you
Yeah.
were like,
And
hey,
I did
I
have
want to have my
like,
show.
yeah, I didn't have kids, but I saw the book and I'm like, I love that book. I gotta go talk to her. But then I don't know. Blah, 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 blah. I got so much stuff. I had bags and
Yeah,
bags of stuff, right? And then I was like, oh my God, I have to have you on my podcast. But then because of health reasons, which we're gonna get into, but here we are, baby. And Jennifer Bleacher's in the house. So I'm gonna tell you
yeah,
about Jen and why I wanted to have her on and why we connected and why I love craft shows. Jennifer Bleacher, diagnosed with cystic fibrosis in her first few days of life, has been defying the odds of her disease for the majority of her life. She worked as a nurse for over 20 years, has an adult daughter, and received the gift of life. Oh my goodness. Every time I say it, I get chills. Through a bilateral lung transplant in 2020 during the height of the pandemic. She doesn't have a purpose. Who the heck does? Jennifer is the self published author of the children's picture book, The Friendship Umbrella, which is why I kept going back for the book. I love that book. I hope you have it there. Which an interactive book that teaches how using your unique gifts to be kind and helping others create beauty in the world. We were meant to hang out.
yeah.
She has been involved with Cystic Fibrosis Foundation for many years. Matter of fact, she has a big event tomorrow, but it's probably all sold out. And now volunteers some of her time post-transplant at the Take a Breath Foundation. She loves dogs, which you already told me the dogs there to create music, has a strong faith in God, and has always chosen to count her blessings instead of her struggles. Woo! I can tell you this. I've been doing podcasting for 16 years, and this is a first for me
First, in what way?
in every way.
In
Like
every way. Yeah, yeah.
just your view on life and what you went through and overcoming the odds. I mean, holy freaking moly. So
It's
I
been
want to go back a second because I want to go off the thing that I said, well, what do you want to tell women around the world and men that support us? And you said, if today was your last day on earth, are you happy with how you've shown up in this world?
yeah.
If not, what are you waiting for? Now, that's a big one. I know why you picked it. It's obvious, but I want you to tell us more because when you say that and you talk about it, it's not morbid. It's like inspirational. To me, when I read that, it brings me joy.
Oh, good. Yeah, I don't mean it morbidly. I mean, having cystic fibrosis when I was born in 1971, my life expectancy, they told my mom, was maybe 12 years. Like I might not live past elementary school.
Mm.
And back then, there was really not a lot to do for cystic fibrosis. I mean, that's just the way it was. It was known as a pediatric fatal disease. Um, and through the years, there's been a lot of treatments that have come out, a lot of research, a lot of new medications. There still is no cure. The Cystic Fibrosis Foundation does a lot of work and has made great strides in that area. Someone born today, they said now the life expectancy might be 50 years, which is okay. It's okay. Like somebody born today, there's a lot of different gene mutations. So some of the treatments are, specified towards that. So I have rare mutations, of course. So nothing was for me. And just the funny thing is, and it's a huge gift in my life, is my mom back then decided not to tell me, but in any of my years growing up, that this disease could be fatal. I mean, and maybe for my rare mutations of cystic fibrosis, I wasn't in the hospital that much for the first, 20 years of my life. So growing up, I feel like psychologically and mentally and emotionally, she gave me no limitations. I mean, she held on to that, which I can't imagine as a mom. But,
Oh,
I didn't know any of that. And a lot of people with cystic fibrosis do live with that early on as a child and growing up, teens and everything, which is a huge burden to carry. And so I did not have that. So I feel very blessed. But by the time I was in my 20s and I graduated school, and I was like, oh, everyone's going to work or college. So I just got a job, and I was secretary first for 2 years. And then I decided I wanted to do something else. I went to nursing school, which my doctor was like, what? That's not good for you. But I went to nursing school anyway, because that's what I want. And that's where I learned that this was a fatal disease in nursing school. But had a
all
daughter.
right. Hold on.
Oh,
Hold on. Hold on.
yes,
We got to
this is a
stop
lot.
there.
I know this is a lot.
No, no, no. I want to back up and I want to pact it for the audience because I want to make sure for all those, they're listening in the car, maybe they're not watching.
Yeah,
There's a lot of valuable tools in there. And I want to stop with what your mom did
yeah,
because I'm all about that.
yes, yeah,
Power of suggestion, the power of the mind, what your doctor said. There's always that should I tell, should I not? Hearing
right,
the doctor say, oh, the chances are like 1 in a million versus you got this. It really changes the stories you tell yourself. And
yeah,
back then, you weren't popping on social media to hear all this stuff.
right. No,
It wasn't like it
no.
wasn't available. And okay, so let's take it this way. Your mom decided there's no way I'm telling my daughter that because who knows?
Hmm.
Good for her.
Yeah,
Unbelievable. Ahead of her time. Love
yeah.
that. You just knew you had this. So
Yep.
what did she tell you? I mean, what did you know growing up? Like, did you have limitations, things you weren't able to do, things you could do?
Well, back then they really didn't have. I mean, it was really just it's a disease, a genetic disease that has the sodium chloride channel in your cells is messed up. So it creates the thin mucus that's in your body that allows the organs to like slide all over the place all easy and stuff and kind of protect your lungs, becomes very thick and sticky. So mostly it's known as a respiratory disease. You get colds a lot, pneumonias a lot, and it just starts scarring up the lungs, and eventually you have respiratory failure. And back then, I mean, the lung transplant didn't even come until the 90s. So it was just a death sentence. But I did have to go down to Philadelphia to my care center every 3 months for my whole entire life of 53 years so far. I've gone down to
That's what
Philadelphia.
I'm going to ask you. So as a child, were you able to be active in sports? Like what could you do and
Yeah.
what?
Yep. And they were encouraged me to do sports because it just makes you cough and opens the lungs up, makes you cough up if you have any junk in there. It's also parts of the disease is the mucus clogs up your pancreas, so it doesn't allow these digestive enzymes to work. So you have malabsorption, malnutrition. People are smaller, thinner, whatever. So running around playing sports was builds muscle and helps your respiratory tract. So back then there wasn't a lot. Yeah, I mean, it was just like eat a ton of cheeseburgers, eat as much ice cream. Like it was all calorie because we're not absorbing. You have to
Oh,
eat
okay. I
eat
got
as
you.
much as you want, and if you ended up in the hospital, there was, some IV antibiotics and some breathing treatments that you did. And the parents are supposed to pound your child's chest like 3 times a day to break up that mucus and hopefully cough it up. But luckily also, God blessed me with really just having intestinal issues for the first 20 years of my life. And my lungs really didn't take a hit into my 20s.
All right. So now here you are. Now I got that information because that's a lot for a parent to hold on to and think about.
Yeah.
And there's no right or wrong answer. And for each individual, I get it's a big decision.
Yeah.
But for this one, it really, really was a blessing. Now, here you are then in nursing school, and you find out.
Yeah.
You go talk to
And
mom. I mean, what did you
yeah,
do?
I was like, Mom, did you know this? And she was like, Yeah. I think, I always tease her, like, it might have been a questionable healthy denial. I would say, like, she didn't want to think it would happen. She didn't want to make me scared because she always says, until something started happening with you, that's when I would face it anyway. Because there wasn't a whole lot to do back then
I
anyway.
agree. I
Yeah.
agree.
Mm-hmm. And it worked out that way for me. And I look back often and am thankful for that it happened that way. But I had the luxury of not being as sick as some people are with
I
it. So
understand. All right. So now take us forward.
yeah.
How did it change your life once you found out that information?
I mean, once that bug is in your brain, um, that's a little tough. But I think because the first 20 years I was not knowledgeable about that and didn't focus on it, I was kind of like, well, I mean, I feel healthy. Like I feel normal. I feel good. I mean, there are some things, other organs are affected and stuff that we're always like, we're watching, but I was closely monitored. We had great access to care in Philadelphia. And,
Yes.
um, and I just kept on plugging along, and I got married and I had a daughter. I mean, back then that was kind of almost, there was very few people living that long and going through all that. Now it is a genetic disease, so my daughter is a carrier automatically. She's got one defective gene from me. But I had her go through the testing, and she does not have cystic fibrosis. She's just a carrier, which she'll have to think about when she has children and if her husband's a carrier and all that stuff. But yeah, and I was, plugging along, working, having a great old time. Being a mom was like my favorite thing in the world. Just knocked her from my glass. And
You knocked over your glass?
well, yeah, it had a lid on it. It was fine.
I was going to say, because the
Swung my
border.
arm. Yeah,
Yeah.
the half
Yeah.
Italian arms go swinging. And then by in my 30s, I was starting to, have times in the hospital for respiratory. My respiratory tract was definitely involved. Being a nurse, I had pneumonia a few times, probably from catching it from the hospital and stuff. And it was always like 2 weeks of IV antibiotics and stay at home and or be in the hospital the whole time. But then in my around, I think it was 40, um, no, it was 44. And my lung function, like over time, has been dropping from all these illnesses. And
Yeah.
it's funny how you adjust every time. You get a little sicker, you get like less lung function, less lung function. You're like, okay, I can still do this and this. Of course, I'm not running around anymore, but and the mind then is kicking in for all these years of my 30s. Like every time I go to the doctor, your lung functions, it's not 100 anymore, it's 80 and it's 70 and 60 and 50. And it gets, it's definitely scary. And by the time I was 44, I had an illness and my lung function went down to 26%. And I just thought I was going to go in. Like I still am like walking around like, okay, I mean, 26% of your lung function is a lot, not a lot. But anyway, he said you have to go to transplant, get evaluated, which I was shocked about. I don't know. Thinking back now, I'm like, I only had 26% lung function, but I was still like the spirit
Yeah.
is, I'm working, blah, blah, blah. I stopped working, made CF my full-time job. I said, I don't want to go on the transplant list yet. Let me see what I can do if I give all my attention to my health and myself and self-care. And I held on for a couple more years and about 3 years. And then it was, getting time. And I got listed and 21 months I waited on the transplant list. And Labor Day weekend of 2020, which like the height of COVID was here. I mean, we were so locked down in this house, you can't even believe. My poor husband, I had him living in the camper in our side yard. I was working, not, but it was actually kind of better, I think, because when I was in the hospital, like they were on such lockdown and precautions. Once I was through the surgery and knew I was still alive, I was like, oh, good. No visitors are allowed in. Everyone's wearing gown, glove to the hilt,
Yeah.
and I received a gift of more time. That's for sure. It's not a cure, but
Yeah.
I'm breathing way better.
Okay. So COVID, that's already scary for you,
It
right?
was it was petrifying. More, I bet, even more for like my daughter and my family than myself. No
Yeah.
one wanted to be the one going out and then coming in and me catching anything. So it was a lot.
And so your husband, what did you say, lived in a trailer?
Well, we had a camper. I say trailer. We had a camper, so it was like getting into the fall, and it was, we had pulled it to our house for the winter, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, do you think you can live in a camper? you know, I'd make them food and deliver it and all this stuff, but
Under
yeah,
the door.
it
Yeah.
was a trooper. Yeah,
Okay. So now my question is, I get you're like, okay, well, I'm not ready for the transplant yet. Let me see what I can do here.
yeah.
But you had to wait 21 months. Didn't you think you should put your name on the list before that?
I know. Well, here's my like I being a
It
nurse.
all worked out. So, I mean, that's
It
good.
did,
But
did all work out, but they were putting me on a little early because I had a high antibody level, and that's a whole long discussion. But they said it would take more time, so I should have gone on. But I just prayed a lot, and I was doing all my statistics, and
I
uh,
got
I asked for a sign at some point. Finally got it, and then that's when I did it.
so your belief system and your faith in God, was it always there, like since a child?
Yeah, I went to Catholic school for the first 8 years of my life, and I think it did instill in me some kind of comfort that for what
Because it
I
could go
did.
the other way with people.
Yeah, and it does. I mean, it really does. In our community, there are plenty of people. I mean, or for anyone handling anything traumatizing and very difficult like that. But I I um, I ended up putting my faith in God, and even as I got older, I mean, I talk to Him on my mind all the time, like He's a friend. Like I don't say all any fancy words. I'm just like, God, it's me again. Guess what? Like today or whatever. And I always think He's probably giggling at me or laughing like, oh, this child, she's whatever. But I'm like, yeah, could you help me out again or whatever? And then I say all my, but I've learned to, I think the biggest thing that I've through my CF journey and my health decline, but especially after transplant, when I woke up,
Mm.
I mean, I just can't tell you how like in my face it felt to just live in gratitude
Oh my God.
every second. I mean,
Oh
and
my God.
and of course with what my health journey and stuff and story, of course I feel like that would be like that. But you know, even my daughter had lost her father unexpectedly in a car accident, and it was right before I got my transplant actually. And then after I woke up, I was just like, you really just, none
No,
of us know.
none of
It
us.
doesn't
You're
matter
right.
about what diseases you have or anything. It just could be anything, and not in a I mean, that is kind of morbid to think about, but what it does to me is then instantly makes me feel like, oh my gosh, what if today were the day that I left here? Who did I talk to today? What tone was I doing? What was my attitude today? Did I say something nice? How did I leave the conversation? So I just feel like ever since transplant, and I am not really an outgoing person at all, but it just comes out of me. Like I could see anyone at the store, the grocery store, I'd be like, I love that hat you're wearing today, or like, here, let me get the door, or I don't know. And I like then after I do it, I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't even know. I mean, I'm nice, but I don't usually go out
I
of
know what you
my way,
mean.
but it really does, it crosses my mind at some point during the day. And then I think, when I'm talking to my mom or when I'm talking to my daughter, or if I'm talking to anyone, like, I hope that I showed up in a way that I would be happy with,
Absolutely.
you know,
Yeah.
and that's just what I've been trying to do ever since.
Yeah.
And
So I think that we all know the inevitable and that every day is a blessing. But when something happens to you or someone close to you, it's more in your face and reminder
yeah,
about what a blessing is and how are you treating others and how are you showing up. And I think for you, it was like really there. I mean, it was
of course, right, of course,
right. And so the fact that you said I'm not really that outgoing of a person, but now I'm like, hey, gotta be as kind as possible. I get it.
yeah. I think I don't know. I think, and I don't know. I've read some books that are like funny books, The Five People You Meet in Heaven. Oh gosh, I don't have it with me for the author. My daughter has all my favorite books there at her house. But and that story was like people you would never think of are like the people in this book that he wrote
Yeah,
about, of like, you did this, you said something nice to me today and it changed my whole trajectory.
absolutely.
I could have been on my way to do I don't know what. And
You
and
never know.
a lot of thoughts go through my head like that. And just that I received the gift of more time of life from a stranger that I didn't know at all. And his mother for honoring his wish. And, it really is, it makes a profound impact on your life and perspective. And, you know, it's just a lot. And then so after transplant, um, years ago, Sandy, I'm talking about a long time ago. I mean, I have a lot of dreams and I'll usually remember them when I wake up and stuff. But,
Oh,
huh? Do
I,
you?
I don't remember my dreams.
You don't? I do.
Very rarely. I mean, now and then, but very rarely.
Yeah. But I don't write them down or anything. I've always read about like writing down your dreams. I think it would be interesting to do that.
Mhm.
Even like a sentence about it and see. But
Yeah.
years ago, I I dreamt about this cartoon story. I mean, the book that I just saw published was a dream. I literally dreamed a cartoon and never before in my life. And when I got up, I was like, that was so crazy. And I wrote it down and I filed it away with papers, drawer, whatever.
Yeah.
And then after transplant, I've always wanted to be like an author. And as a nurse, I've usually worked with children, in pediatrics. I love kids. And so after like a year or so, when I was more fully recovered and stable from transplant, I was like, what am I, the whole, what time is so precious and blah, blah, blah. So I was like, what the hey, I'm just going to self publish it and put it out there. And like that was just enough for me. I was just like, I have this hardback copy and it says my name on there. And there's another woman in Philadelphia with cystic fibrosis who does artwork. I collaborated with her. So I just feel like the book is cool from two people with cystic fibrosis. And like, as I start to do the craft fairs where I met you and share it, or a lot of people will get it for like a baby shower or a birthday gift or something, I get all this wonderful, these text messages back and saying, this is my kid's favorite book. We read it every night, but all these things that I could never imagine. And even if it was, only a few books, it makes my heart so happy. And the story is really just about, helping each other, and everyone's different. And that's the best part. And that's why this world and life is so beautiful,
Yeah.
and I love
Where's
that.
the book? Where's the book?
Well, it's back there, but you can't see it. But it's right
I
here.
see it back there. It matches the light.
Yes,
Yes, I love that cover.
yes.
I freaking love that.
I know it really does. It's just something that makes me happy. It's probably one of the very few things that, besides being a mom, look at my daughter, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's my name on a book. I mean, I'm working on another book, but
Oh, you are?
I am working. I got a writing award through Hay House Publishing, so I'm working on like.
Wait, whoa, whoa, whoa! That's huge.
I know. I'm so excited.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. When did that happen?
It happened like a year and a half ago, and I've just been doing a million other things. You didn't even ask me my word yet. I like really thought about. I thought you were going to ask me. I listened to all your other podcasts. You're like, what is your word for the past 30 days?
Okay. Well, wait a minute. That's for the Let's Keep It Real podcast. That's
Oh,
not
okay.
on the hey, but I'm going to ask you now.
Okay.
All right. But wait, finish this story, then we'll get to your word.
Okay. Well, it's not as big. It's not as big, but it just came to me that you said that. But I've just been doing other things and putting it off, which is unlike me with this whole mindset.
Okay.
And you know, the word has been transformative. There's just a lot of things going on. I think, empty nester. I don't have my nursing career anymore. I still have a lot of other health issues that don't allow me to be able to do that. And I've just been trying to like find my place now as a 53-year-old woman, and my daughter's grown and moved and all the things. I'm like, what am I supposed to do now? And I got a little, more time put back in my bank account here for life, and, just trying to figure it out. But then I come smacking into me like the other book. Like, I feel like there's this.
I'm sure there is.
Yes,
By the way, because you said transformative, you get the dragonfly, which is symbol of
my favorite.
Yeah, symbol of transformation. Isn't he cute? I love him.
Adorable. And yellow is my favorite color anyway.
I love yellow. All right, so wait a minute.
Okay.
Again, Jennifer, what has been your word for the past month and why?
Transformative. I don't know. I feel like growth, transform. I don't know. I just feel
you said transformative.
Yeah, transformative. Just all the things: emptiness, no career to go back to. What do I do now? I can't even go back to the woman that I was before I had my daughter, because now I'm 53 and I'm not 24, and life has happened to me.
Like most empty nester moms.
Yeah, I know. I end up at a craft show, and no, I'm just kidding.
Recreate yourself. And so, you have the book in mind you want to do?
Yes, I am working on one, and I just feel like in life, how are you showing up every day? One of the ways that what happened after transplant is that I really had to slow down. I had to slow down when I was before transplant, tethered to oxygen around the house, and unable to walk a lot. And then after transplant, it's just I've always, and I've been slowing down in life and stuff, but I just feel like I've always kind of noticed signs, um, and I pay attention to them. Like they have a lot of meaning to me. A lot of them I don't speak about or haven't like during my whole life. And at this point, I just feel like when I couldn't decide about transplant, I woke up in the middle of the night one night, which I don't usually do. I was very ill and I would sleep and sleep all the time. And
Oh.
I woke up in the middle of the night and sat up and just started talking to God like I do, and just was, I basically was saying, like, I have spent 3 years talking to people with transplant, looking up about transplant, doing statistics, doing financial budgets, like how, whatever. And
Mhm.
I just said, I started crying and I just said, I don't have the answer. At 3 years, I've been like every day trying to figure this out all on my own. And I mean, I can't, I'm just going to give it to you because I am so tired and I don't know what the right answer is. And that bothers me in my nursing brain just to begin with.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, I asked him for a sign. And I feel like a very big sign, not the I'll say, but anyway, just a teaser. I did get a sign, and that's when I ended up signing up for transplant on the list. But I feel like there's many other things, and even while I was waiting for the list, things happened. I mean, some odd things. I feel like very unusual, and these things gave me hope. Like, even when I was younger, I just felt like every sign I would see made me feel like it was God, like
Absolutely.
saying it's okay or something,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know. So
Absolutely.
that's the book I'm gonna write about. And I
And you got an award from Hay House Publishing.
yes, I know. So I am ready to,
Massive. It's
with
massive.
my empty nester time,
Yeah.
I've got to stop wasting time and start really kicking it out.
By the way, I know my friends are laughing, or the listeners that know me, when you're talking about talking to God, because I call God Neil.
I think I've
Everyone
heard.
knows that
Yeah.
I'm on a first name basis. And I
Right.
don't talk to God inside my head. We have full conversations
Yep.
about everything out
Me,
loud, everywhere. So
me.
it's like,
Yeah.
that's kind of like
Yeah. Right. Yeah. It's
just
great.
me. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. There's no
And
fanciness
that's
going
what I
on.
say. I go, okay, like let's say I'm gonna have a difficult conversation coming up or confrontation or something scary. And I want to make sure I'm coming from my heart. I go, all right, Neil, you're at the wheel.
I love that you have a one-to-one basis name for him. That's great. I'm pretty much like it's me again.
Oh
You know,
no, no, it's nonstop. There is
yeah,
no, I'm not bugging
I know,
you. I know you want to talk to me.
I know. I'm like when I get a green light, when I get a good parking spot, I mean, instantly in my head, I'm like, thank you, God. Like I don't even know. Like it's ridiculous for me at this point, but it brings me joy. It brings me comfort. It calms
Absolutely.
any fears
And I
and
don't think he's tired of you. I think you could talk more. Have go at it.
yeah, I that's the thing. I feel like he saved me and I'm trying to figure out my purpose of why. And I know in time, but I feel like this book that I'm going to be working on now may be a big part of it. And I hope that's really true.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to go out on a limb here. I probably shouldn't, but I'm going to. Nah, it's okay, Neil said. Neil's at the wheel. Couple things that are coming to mind, and I know we're going over time, and then we'll wrap up.
Yeah.
But I look at it, well, my perspective of me and Neil is that it's just not one thing, your purpose. Your entire life has been you leading from your heart, with God. So everything you've done every day is your purpose, not it's coming up. Like you've been living your purpose. The way you show up before transplant, the way you show up after transplant, and you probably have changed depending like as a kid, as a nurse, finding out, knowing, how precious time is, and it's more even prevalent for you. You are living your beyond purpose. And then as your journey changes, what you want to do now is exactly what you're doing. The most important thing you could be doing is what you are doing every single day. That is
I love
be
that.
kind to individuals. For me, I I say, yeah, I love getting on the big stages. I'm going to get on bigger stages, and I love speaking, and I love doing. But when I go in during COVID, I did this all the time. When I go to Trader Joe's or Whole Foods, and I make a grumpy person smile and act and start dancing in
Yeah.
line, especially the grumpy person, it doesn't get better than that.
Right? I
You don't know
know.
it. You may not know it around the world, and not that I don't want to do those other things, but that to me. So your legacy of how you show up every single day is your purpose. Now, the fact that you want and you will write another book, that's just something else you're going to do.
Yeah. I love that. Thank you. I
Now,
do.
that is
You're
just
so right.
my perspective on because it's not you might have an aha. Oh, now I want to write a new book. Oh, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to do that speaking engagement. Oh, I know. But for me, I wake up every day. Neil, you're at the wheel. How am I serving today? I'm going to show peace,
Yeah.
love, and whether I go to the Trader Joe's or the Whole Foods or I'm obnoxious on my
Yeah.
bike and make people wave to me, I'm showing up
You
with
are,
joy. Now, don't get better than that. So
you are
your
so great.
kindness exudes, and
Yeah.
that's why I kept coming back to your freaking table.
Yeah. And there was a reason, that we met and
Yeah.
all the things. And then now we're here. So
You see what I
I
mean?
love it all.
And it's like, how many years later? But you don't know. So now we're reconnected. Where could you lead? I don't know.
Yeah.
So that's your purpose. How you show up today is with that
Yeah.
kind leading from your heart is the what you want to show the world.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if
And
everyone
we hey, that's what I say all the time. Could you imagine? I mean, we're allowed to be in bad moods or something. I get that completely. I'm not rainbows and sunshine 24/7, but you
yeah,
know,
shake it off, man.
shake
All
it off.
right. Jennifer Bleecher, thank you so much. I
Thank
really
you.
appreciate you staying connected. I'm so excited for you
Thank you.
at your gala tomorrow. You're going to have a blast. I know you are. And I'm excited for your book with your award from Hay House Publishing.
Yes.
But
I'll let you know.
before you go, tell them how they can reach you and purchase the book you do have out right now.
Yes, yes. The Friendship Umbrella is my children's picture book. And my website is Jennifer Bleecher, BLEECHER.com. But it also is available on Amazon, BarnesandNoble.com, and all the big ones. But if you wanted to sign up and get on my email list, and then you can be in the loop of when the next book's coming, that would be great. I love any feedback, and
You're definitely buying the book. Stop your
yeah,
nonsense. All right.
this book has been accepted into the curriculums of the Malvern School. I don't know if you're
What?
savvy about that, but yeah, that was a big deal. So I'm excited.
Huge deal. That's huge.
Yeah, that's huge. Yeah.
All right, my hey, I got something to say, people, women around the world, men that support us. Jennifer and I would really appreciate you rating, liking it, and sharing it. Come on. We all need reminders. We all need reminders that every single day we get to choose how we show up and treat others. Those little acts of kindness, you have no idea. It sounds so cliche, but you have no idea the ripple effect and how it would relate to others. You just have
Amen.
no freaking idea. So, you know what I'm going to say before we go? I love you guys so much. I'm so grateful for you. And thank you, Jennifer. And my last words are toodles.